Welcome back, everybody, to the Canadian Bitcoiners podcast, the Mighty CBP. Here, as always, with your best friends, Joey and Len. Shout out to you, Business Cat. This week, Len, the IRS lays out a perjury trap in their forms, trying to get people to tell them where their Bitcoin is, how much they have, and whether or not it's KYC'd, I guess. We'll talk about that. The COLDCARD Mk5 is released and has me thinking that I need to make a buy. And of course, the Canadian economy is in a fucking tailspin. So with that in mind, here's the intro. Hang in.
And so, the government can say whatever they want about this thing not competing. It's for black market only. It's for this, for that. But they're really treating it like a threat. And one of the things that can't be attacked is your self-custody Bitcoin. And one of the things that can be attacked is the ETF. You can't be exposed to that. That's my view. It's not a good idea. And by the way, that'll hit MSTR too. It'll probably hit other stuff as well.
Friends and enemies, welcome back. Canadian Bitcoiners podcast.
Friends and enemies, welcome to the CBP. Want to be better informed? Listen to Len and Joey. Sponsors taken care of right off the top. Bull Bitcoin and EasyDNS. The media is feeding the slop.
It's great to see you, buddy. What's a good word over there? Your neck of the woods.
Another day, another dollar. A nice day today, except for the wind. And now we're getting into the deep freeze, brother.
Oh yeah.
What's going on over there?
Apparently it's supposed to dump again, the snow tonight. I mean, it's kind of snowing right now where I am, but
yeah, it's same, but it's just no, I don't think anything's going to really accumulate from what I got.
Okay, maybe I misheard that then.
At least over here.
I mean, we're not that far away. We live like 10 minutes apart now. So
no, I stand corrected. 1 to 3.
There you go. See, yeah.
You think I'm going to shovel that snow? No, man.
It's gonna be 20 degrees by the week or something, probably at this time of year. So
yeah, once we get to mid-January, I stop shoveling. That's kind of kid.
Just hang it up.
One day it'll be the case. I'll never shovel again, but still, if we get dumped on large.
I love it. Let's talk about the sponsors. EasyDNS is the title sponsor. What can you say about Mark that we haven't said already? I don't know. Had a nice chat with Mark today. It's always nice to talk to Mark on the phone. EasyDNS is the best place for you as a small business owner, as a Bitcoiner, as a newsletter provider, as a Shopify user to start a website. How do you start a website, Len? You got to buy a domain. Mark is the guy who can help you buy a domain. He's got every prefix, every suffix. He's got an AI domain generator, which is hilarious. And he will even help you if you've already acquired a domain and you're not happy with your current DNS provider. He's going to take care of that for you as well. If you're a Bitcoiner, you can use the virtual private server stuff to do Nostr relays and Bitcoin nodes and stuff like that. Also, now you can have a Claude bot running on a virtual private machine. So doing your dirty work without exposing your desktop computer to all the negatives of those things. God knows there are many. Plus, for a couple extra bucks, easy mail, domain share, very simple stuff. Protect your business, your mailing list, your client list, all these different things that are not well protected these days and are becoming more and more of a target. If you want to go there and get 50% off your first round of buys, use our promo code CBP Media, and it's a quick slash of whatever's in your cart the first time through. So load up, man. Don't wait. Act now. All those good things, and go visit Mark at EasyDNS.com. Who's the second sponsor?
Cordell Stewart slash. That's Bull Bitcoin.
Cordell Stewart's in NFL Street #1. Did you know that? I didn't know that till the other day. I forgot.
Yeah. Did we talk about NFL Street in the past?
I have it on my computer, on one of my computers here. I don't know where the other laptop is, but it's like an emulator that plays PS2 games pretty well. And I wanted to play it, but like always, I have no time. So there you go.
Yeah, shelve the Arc Raiders and play some NFL Street. No, we have Bull Bitcoin. They are the second sponsor of their show. And they are not just our sponsor. This is the place where we buy. And if I ever sell, I'd use them, and I assume the same for you. I'm not sure if you ever sold any Bitcoin, but if you did, I'm assuming you're going to use Bull Bitcoin because they're the best in the game, non-custodial, right? This is what you want in exchange. You don't want somebody to hold on to your Bitcoin. There are so many exchanges out there that when you make a buy, they hold on to it, and you have to have a particular limit in order which you could take it off. Not Bull Bitcoin. You put your address, it sends it there. It could be with Lightning, it could be with on-chain. A lot of different things. You could pay bills with your Bitcoin, right? If you're happy with the price of Bitcoin, 74,000. Holy shit! It's a good time to start.
It's running up.
What the fuck?
I was going to say, even if you're not happy with the price of Bitcoin, you have bills to pay. Like, bills will help you. Some people live on Bitcoin. You and me don't live on it, but some people live on it.
Yeah. And I give them full credit for doing so. And you could use Bull Bitcoin as a way to pay your bills, because you're going to have to accumulate bills, right? You're going to have credit card bills, card payment, whatever the hell you're going to get. Well, one way to pay the bills instead of just using your cash, if you like the price of Bitcoin, you could have Bitcoin used as the way to pay the bill, and Bull Bitcoin will facilitate that. You could do reoccurring buys, you could do auto buys, you could do limit orders. These guys aren't just an exchange. They could help usher you in to become a good Bitcoiner, because if you need some help along the way, just reach out to chat with them, and they'll be able to book some time with you and get you on your way. Check them out. Use a referral code below. If you do that, when you sign up, you'll have all buys and sells a little bit cheaper.
Yeah.
Forever.
For life.
So check them out.
Can't beat it. We have a new sponsor we'll talk about in the back half there that I hastily thought about what to say for. But it's not going to interfere with Twan's ongoing sponsorship of Hamilton Brampton, man. That's untouchable. We're not looking for a new sponsor for that segment. It won't be for a long time. Okay. Housekeeping, then Boost, or Boost, then housekeeping? You pick. Dealer's choice.
I'll do the Boost because they're short. I only have 2 for whatever reason. So I was able to muster off the Fountain platform. And so we have 500 sats at Mo BTC Dick. He says, more of Scott, please. Great conversation.
I appreciate
and
that.
Second, we have Business Cat 7777 sats. He says, I appreciate the Rocky Ridge Radio with Boomer shout out. Love you, dudes.
It was a good show. It was a good show. We should talk about, I mean, we'll do a free plug here for the new podcast on the block here, trying to make headway into your 40 hours per week. Boomer, Corey, and Luke, Business Cat, a new podcast called The 49th Parallel. That is 2 guys who are in Bitcoin talking about men's issues, which I really like. I think that's a good niche. I think a lot of Bitcoiners are probably here for the community as well as for the number go up technology. And sometimes it's hard as a guy to talk about things that are eating you a little bit, right? So I'm happy to see that. I started listening to the episode that they put out, I think earlier this week or late last week. Today, I'm about halfway through. It's quite good. It's good to hear 2 guys just chopping it up, and they don't quite have the cadence down yet, but it reminds me of when you and I started to do our recordings, Len, that, you know, even though we knew each other and had good rapport, once the mics are on, you got to really find out like when you're going to, when you're going to throw, when you're going to run, all those different things. And they're going to get it. I'm sure they are. And I would suggest people start subscribing and listening to that now. I'm
a little disappointed that it's not called the 41st hour.
Why? The podcast? I think that's a great title. They're probably regretting that they didn't pick that. The 41st
when you were saying it,
hour.
I thought that's gonna be 40. Oh, you can take it. It's run with it. I have no problems. I put this under the GPL version 2 license. Just run with it.
Open source, baby.
I open source this shit, man. Do what you want.
On the housekeeping side, I had Francis on last week, and our guy Andreas cut up a nice intro for us, did some editing, and that is on YouTube and on the podcast. Did I put it on the podcast feed? I think I did. I would only ask one thing as we continue to try and grow the YouTube side. Go to YouTube, put it on, watch it from front to back if you haven't. And even if you can't watch from front to back, let it run. Leave a like and a comment and just pump that thing in the algo. I will tell you that most of the time we have Francis on, it is an esoteric conversation. This one is also esoteric, but there are topics that I never thought we would touch on this show that we touched. And I think it was a really good conversation. And Boomer in the chat is saying that he got a text message saying that someone let him know he had to listen to the interview with Francis. It's a must-listen show. And as always, we went long. It's about 90 minutes total runtime. It's really good, man. We talked about a lot of stuff, a lot of the ills of society and where they came from. And I think the focus of the conversation turned pretty quickly from, Bitcoin and the ethic of Bitcoin to how ethics always are downstream from aesthetics, which is something I've never considered, but really does make a lot of sense when you think about it. It's quite good. Francis is a great guest, anyways, but we both had a little something in our cups and had a great talk for about 90 minutes. Really good stuff. You guys will really enjoy it. And there's visuals on YouTube, by the way. We did pull up a few visuals during the show. What's that?
Did you name the bird?
We didn't name the bird. Do you know about the bird?
I heard of it.
It's in the chat.
Nice.
Francis lives in the jungle, so there is a bird. It's funny. He has the same mic that I use, and it's one version newer than yours, which also has the same tech. If there's constant white noise in the background of your audio, it'll cut it out for you automatically. So for example, if you have like an air conditioner running or something, it'll cut it out. The miner's not quite loud enough to make that threshold, but if it was, you wouldn't hear it anyways. And Francis, at the beginning of the show, before we started recording, was talking to his gardener and trying to get his gardener to stop the leaf blowing. And I was like, I can't hear that anyway. So don't worry about that. Whatever leaf blowing you think that I can make out in the background, your mic's going to cut it out as soon as it realizes that it's, sort of a consistent sound. But the thing is, if a bird chirps, it's not consistent enough. And so there is a bird. It's like part of the way through the video, but it goes away pretty quickly. Anyway,
it's incredible what's being done with hardware and software too.
Yeah.
Because I know on the software side of thing, I don't want it to say too much, but some of the Microsoft products they suck. They suck in so many regards. But in terms of like filtering out noise, some of the Microsoft products do a very good job at doing their thing.
Agreed.
But that's as far as you get with me talking positively about Microsoft.
Further than
I don't even like their Xbox. I'm a PlayStation dude, right? I haven't turned on my Xbox. I don't think this year.
Crimson Desert comes out this week. You may not hear from me for like 7 days straight.
I don't even know what the fuck a Crimson Desert is.
You got to look it up. People in the chat, if you guys are not looking up Crimson Desert, like tell me, and just remember that it was Joey who put you on. It's great. It is going to be so great. I cannot wait. I bought a PS5 Pro. I may even try. I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to buy it there or buy it for this CBP rig, which you and I have talked about how I don't use this for anything except the podcast, even though it's got all this firepower. I am considering breaking that rule for this game. We'll see which platform will run it better.
It's funny because I think we're in different ends of the spectrum with respect to the current generation of consoles. I'm hugely disappointed. At the console.
What kind of games do you usually play? This is off the beaten path, obviously, but this is what you get with Len and I. What kind of games do you usually play that you've been disappointed? Because I can think of most consoles have like 5 really like smash hits that move genres forward, that move platforms forward. And this one has had Ragnarok.
I heard that is that the God of War?
It's God of War.
Now I heard that somebody that I follow on Twitter, he hates it and he bashes that religiously because of the woke aspect. He says the first game was not like that, but the last one is hugely woke.
What woke aspect?
I can't say it right now without getting
whatever. I know what you're talking about, but okay. I mean, sure, I guess. Well, I wouldn't consider. I wouldn't consider that woke. The first game has, I would argue, just as much or just as little. That's
the storyline changes. The storyline changed from the first one was, I think, about revenge. If I recall correctly. The second one was about trying to just raise a boy type of thing.
It's coming of age. Yeah, it's a good story. I mean, those guys write stories that could be easily made into movies, but I don't think, and as we're going to find out with this Amazon series coming for God of War, there's just not the actors out there who can do it.
God, so, Amazon coming, and they're going to butcher this fucking
They will butcher it for sure. The characters that the scenes they've already released are just like absolutely horrific looking. They look terrible. So yeah, those two games, Horizon Forbidden West, I would argue is like probably the best looking game on any platform ever. And there's a few others that
it's not about looks, Joey. It's about gameplay.
Horizon Forbidden West has great gameplay too. I think it's one of the best games I've ever played.
I can't.
What do you play? What do you play?
I haven't seen a Legend of Zelda that is worthy of the new console. That was a system seller when it came out. The Breath of the Wild was for the Switch.
Right.
I don't know how long. It's close to a year, 9 months since Switch 2 came out.
Came out in August, I think, right?
No, I thought it was June of last year.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
And so it's, it's been very good for system sales, but you know what? The type of games they sell, I don't know. Not happy with it. Give me a 3D Mario. Don't have it.
Yeah.
Not interested.
I have a Switch 2.
I don't see an Uncharted game. I'd love to see a new Uncharted game for PlayStation. Don't see it. I don't care. It's just the new consoles. I think we're in polar ends here. Like you seem to like, I don't, and that's cool, man. Somebody has on their Twitter feed, I forget who it is. They're gonna buy a PlayStation 5 at $300K, and I was telling him, don't fucking do it.
Sly Goomba, Jeff.
That's it.
Yeah,
Goomba, buddy, don't, man. It's my personal opinion. Do your own research. Fucking stick with the old one, man.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
Teach
All right.
their own. Teach their own. Anyway,
100%. Yeah, you could do whatever you want with your money. That's the beautiful. Well, as long as you have access to it, you could do whatever you want with it.
now that we've blown 15 minutes, let's talk about the IRS in the States.
The historical digital asset form. Is that what you want to talk about? That's essentially what it is. It's a relatively new form that was released by the IRS, and it's essentially a questionnaire that they're sending people who have been audited or being audited, and they're asking for activity and more activity than what they provided, and specifically their digital asset trades, buys, sells, all that shit, and they want to capture that in this questionnaire. And it's also asking about the popular exchanges, that if they have any accounts, like stuff like Binance, Coinbase, and a bunch of other exchanges as well. And then they ask, do you have an account? If so, what's your username? What's your email? And you're giving up a lot of information when you do that. It's trying to capture information related to your Bitcoin and your shitcoin usage, right? If you think that your stack was fully KYC'd before, or KYC freed, but it's no longer, with doing this, you're basically giving up everything. And really they're trying to find for people that make moves that did not report it. Anytime you have, this is the way the law is written, the way I understand it, and I could be wrong, but this is, I stick by this. When you have something like Bitcoin, as long as you don't trade it for anything else, you're not subjected to any sort of tax, right? You're just simply holding it. If you move Bitcoin to Lightning back to Bitcoin, it's not moving Bitcoin out of Bitcoin. It's just simply Bitcoin. Now, when you move Bitcoin to, say, USDT or anything else, that's a taxable event. And then moving it back to Bitcoin, that's also a taxable event. How many times people may have done shit like this using their app to try to get some Solana token or whatever, never claiming anything? This is going to be nasty for people out there. But from what I gather, this is only for people right now that are being audited. Starting with that,
Yeah.
it could very well morph into the whole population. You got to provide this information. And since companies like Coinbase, Kraken, all those companies, they have this information. If the IRS goes after this information from the source, from them, and tries to cross-reference what you provide, and there's a discrepancy, you better get ready to fucking bend over, because they're going to really come after you hard. So people that mine, people that do other things, buy it from the ATMs and whatnot, I think you're probably okay. Also, if you just bought Bitcoin and did nothing else, you're probably okay. You may be giving up your information in terms of your ownership of the Bitcoin, but you certainly don't owe, at least the way I understand it, you don't owe any taxes on it. So that's my take.
Okay, there's a couple interesting things here. And the reason we're leading with this, okay, is not because it's, a clickbaity story. In fact, it's probably not. I had Andreas do the thumbnail for this story as well, but it's probably not the clickbaity story we could have used. I think it's important, though, for a couple of reasons that I truly believe most people are not really understanding here by the looks of things, including guys like TFTC who, broke the story, Marty and Matt. Yeah, it's a good rage bait thing, but it's not really everybody. Like you mentioned, I'm glad you said it's people who are being audited. It's actually only small business and self-employed people who are being audited, who are being asked this question, as far as I can tell. Now, the interesting thing is that it's not just asking you about the audit year. It's asking you about lifetime balances, moves, trades, buys, sells on any of these platforms. There's more than 100 different platforms, including cold storage, that are on this form. Trezor, Ledger, all these other, cold storage options. I'm not sure if Coinkite is on there with their cold cards, but the implication would be that you have to fill out whether it's on the form or not under penalty of perjury. That's pretty serious. The IRS, as a global enforcement arm, always leads the rest of the world. They're the tip of the spear. If they start doing this, everyone else will start doing it too. The question becomes, as a Canadian, have you ever used a Coinbase or a Kraken or any of these American exchanges that may fall under the FACTA or FATCA jurisdiction, right? The information sharing between Canada, the US, and a few other places regarding tax evasion, sort of just general movement of money, movement of value on these networks and on Swift. Where do you think, if you're a Canadian, do you remember all the transactions you did 2015, 16, 17? Could you pull them? If you can't pull them and you don't remember, are you going to be penalized? What is the reasonable expectation? I think, as we've talked about before, it'll be made clear to you as a taxpayer, as a citizen, that you're better off erring on the side of too much declaration than not enough, and too much value than not enough. And if you can't remember the values of the accounts you held in some of these other places, the natural inclination will be, well, I better just tell them I had something there. I don't remember how much. Maybe it was $1,000. Maybe it was $500, when really it was less than that, but you don't want to undershoot it. We're getting to the point now where the IRS knows people have this stuff. CRA knows people have this stuff, and they're going to make it difficult for you to lie about how much you have. And they're going to penalize big names, businesses, entrepreneurs, whatever, at every opportunity to use that chilling effect to grab us and other people who are in our bracket, right? The sort of plebs out there. It's not fair. And I don't think it ultimately is going to matter whether or not you had a quote unquote taxable event, because soon, in my opinion, there's going to be an attempt to tax this stuff year over year on gains, not on sales.
You're talking about unrealized gains.
Oh yeah, 100% for sure.
Oh, everything's going to be unrealized.
Yeah, it's all on the table, right? So I think this is low hanging fruit for them. You mentioned there that you and I agree on this, that moving Bitcoin to the Lightning Network to pay someone or whatever is not moving out of Bitcoin. It shouldn't be considered a taxable event. I doubt very much that they're going to view that the same way. And I think that if you look at what's going on with the Samurai guys, Keone or whatever his name is there, or he's not Samurai, but you know what I'm talking about.
Rodriguez?
Yeah. So if you look at that situation, and I know people are talking about how recently the US government has said that privacy is an important part of the whole crypto/Bitcoin thing. Fine, that's what they say, but they're jailing developers. The likelihood that your move to an L2 is viewed as anything but intentionally obfuscating ownership or intentionally obfuscating trail of ownership, I think it's very unlikely.
I mean, let's be honest. It all depends on the amount. If you're simply moving, like say hypothetically, a million sats into a node, and you're
a couple
creating
$100,
a channel,
yeah.
Is that, and and that's a percentage of, like, a very small percentage of your overall stack. Could one say you're trying to use this system, this Lightning Network, as a way to, one could really make a strong argument you're just moving it there because it's easy and cheap to move around.
I don't disagree with that. Yeah, I don't disagree
and if you move the whole lot to Lightning, which is, I would recommend never doing that because it's still very much experimental, then one could make an argument, yeah, maybe you're using that to try to hide your entire stack. So I don't think many people are moving their entire stack to Lightning, but if they are, then sure, they could be captured by this. And the people that are running a Lightning node and just moving a small percentage of their overall and using that as a way to transact in Bitcoin, I think they'll be okay. I don't think that they're going to get themselves nailed on the cross for that. I don't know. And more importantly, I don't think it's more just Bitcoin. This is on a greater scale. There's shitcoinery too.
That's a lot of people think they're targeting. Yeah,
100%. Because maybe I'm skewed in the way I'm looking at things. The way I envision people that buy Bitcoin, I think there's a higher percentage of people that buy Bitcoin and hold on to it. I'm not saying that's a huge number, but compared to, say, somebody that holds on to Ethereum or Solana or whatever, name your shitcoin, and hold on to it, say, I'm going to be a hodler forever. I don't think there's too many of those by percentage compared to, say, in Bitcoin. There's more people that are, I see the value of this. I see the scarcity of this. I see the long-term value of this. I'm not going to sell it. I'm not going to trade it. I'm just going to hold on to it. So I think there's more of that in Bitcoin by percentage. And also, we got also the NFTs, the meme coins, all that shit that probably has never been captured before. And it's a good way for the IRS to capture it. If they're hungry for tax dollars, they'll go ahead and do it. And
which we know they are, right?
If they make example of a few people, then you think people are going to be more apt to buy this shit and never report it? Hell no. Especially if they show that, they rounded up a bunch of people that skirted the system, and Now they're doing 5 to 10 at Club Fed. They're gonna have to follow the same, right?
Yeah, so maybe it's an issue of capacity of enforcement for them, right? So they look at the top, 10% of offenders, and how many of those are going to be Bitcoiners after, from 2015, let's say, till now. The likelihood that the guys avoiding taxes are Bitcoiners is pretty low. Is that's the case you're making? I think that's probably
I'm
true.
thinking percentage wise.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that buy Bitcoin and trade it and do that just by sheer volume. Like you look at how much Bitcoin's, but I'm just thinking there's a higher percentage of people in Bitcoin than other digital assets that just hold on to it. And maybe I'm using myself as an example. Like, fun. I could go back to when I first purchased, and you could trace all the.
There's no
buys I had.
cells. Yeah.
Right. So like, maybe I'm the exception. I don't know, but in that small circle of people I talk to, a lot of people are like that. But there are some people I do know that live and use Bitcoin as a medium of exchange. So I don't know. It's interesting. This is something, to be perfectly honest, it doesn't scare me. I think this is it's I don't know. It reminds me of Jeb Bush, right? It's low energy.
It's a signpost. We'll see what ends up happening. Keep in mind, this is a quote unquote Bitcoin friendly IRS at the moment. Let's see how it looks when the Democrats win in 28, if they win in 28. Looking more likely by the day, by the way.
Right? Yeah. It's eventually the Democrats will win. If it's not next time or the next time, like it's one party or the next party. Nobody runs the table forever.
Yeah.
Who the fuck knows?
John in the chat's bringing up a good point that would you spook capital out of the country on the back of a weird Bitcoin unrealized gains tax? I don't know. The other thing too, I'm not convinced all that capital would necessarily leave if Bitcoin was taxed. Like there's a lot of guys who have a lot of money who didn't buy Bitcoin, didn't get it, and don't like it. They may celebrate without really understanding that they're next in line, I think.
And how many bought in ways or accumulated Bitcoin in ways that is never tracked?
That's a good point.
So
yeah, if you're at the top of the wealth pyramid, the likelihood that you're playing by the same rules when you buy is basically zero. So
no, I'm just looking at people that accumulated Bitcoin through mining or through selling a service or a good or whatever, and it's truly just like using a peer-to-peer net. It's never been captured unless the other party in that peer-to-peer reported it and gave your name.
That's right.
If that's never been reported, then that is just unfortunate.
Or even like how far can they go with the chain with like the transactions, right? Like let's say I report to the IRS that I bought on Coinbase, and here's my Coinbase wallet number, whatever, my account number. And then you can go through, because I didn't obfuscate any of the transactions. You go through to my UTXOs, and it's like stuff that I've bought from Coinbase, moved to cold storage, and sent somewhere else. Am I going to get a questionnaire about whose wallet was this that you sent to? Do you control this wallet? Can you sign on this wallet? Yeah, like it's hard, right?
You know what? When you do consolidation of UTXOs, that's going to be, people would wonder what the fuck's going on here. But again, if you control the keys for all those UTXOs, and it's easy, you just sign a message. It's mine, right? Fuck you. And well, I don't know. Whatever. Let's talk about Coldcard.
Sure.
I think it's a good topic to discuss, because I think a lot of people like this. It's the COLDCARD Mark5 that came out, now available for orders, officially launched on the 10th of March. And this replaces the COLDCARD Mark 4. I don't have any handy right here to show off. Obviously don't even have a 5. And people are probably questioning what the fuck's the difference between the 4 and the 5. There are some differences. There's a bigger screen on the 5 compared to the 4. It's a 1.54 inch Gorilla Glass display.
Like that. And
the keys are supposed to be more precise and clicky. So when you click it, it sounds more clicky. The USB for powering it was relocated. It used to be in the top. Now it's on the side, better access. So when you put it down on the table, it's just easier to use. It's just more better to use it in general. Better NFC. That doesn't really impact me. I like to use
the air gap crowd doesn't care about that.
Yeah, it's good to have, but I'm not going to take advantage of it if I get it. And one thing to note, it runs the same firmware as the Mark 4. The 5 and 4 run the same firmware. The Mark 4 is now no longer for sale, as I mentioned, so the 5 is the only thing you get it. So really, then the only thing it is, if you're running the same firmware, it's essentially just a cosmetic change from 4 to 5. So If
There's
you
some
wanna
there's some QOL in there too. Like, the buttons are kind of shitty on the Mark IV.
it doesn't impact me. I like it, and I have fast raises, and I had very long ones at that.
Yeah.
So the price is in USD 170 for the Coldcard Mark 5, and if you want to compare that to the Q, that's 250. So pick whichever one you want, use it correctly, at least the way I say is correctly. Everybody may have their own way of doing things, but if you do it properly, air gap, never expose your keys to internet, don't fucking plug that device to a device or like a computer or whatever, you're good. And so these should be good devices to use. I'm not going to get one, and there's a reason why I'm not going to get one, because the 4 does everything I need.
Yeah.
I never got the Q. I could have bought it. I just never needed a Q because I like my 4, right? So I just like, when something works for me, I like to keep it. So it's not to say that the 5 sucks. The 5 is probably better than the 4, but if you don't have any cold cards, get the 5. That's a good one.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I personally, well, let's start with the improvements. The buttons, yeah, I like that. But to your point, the buttons aren't that big a deal if you're not really using the wallet to send, right? So if the idea is that you buy this thing, air gap it, go through that process, the paranoid cold card setup from Odell, I think, right? Put that together, pretty sure.
I think so.
So if you're using that setup, the idea would be that you use this thing once, set it up with Sparrow or whatever, or Cove, or pick your sort of wallet of choice, your Wash wallet of choice, and let that thing generate addresses for you. You never touch the hardware. I think that's the right way to do this. The complaints I think people have about the Mark IV are valid. The screen is kind of small, makes QR reading difficult. It's sort of, I know, but these are quality of life improvements that, and this is the second point I'm going to make. These are quality of life improvements that Coinkite, I should say, has to focus on, because if they don't, Len, what are they going to sell? Like they're not going to sell 10 wallets to the same people, right? So when they come up with a way to improve the hardware, even if they're not improving the software, it's an improvement, an iterative one at that, but an improvement all the same. And when I think about what they're doing, I don't know what else we expect from them, right? They've done some good work there, and they continue to make good products. People complain about the price of cold card units, but it's the most secure hardware wallet as far as I can tell. A lot of people have this feeling, not just me, guys like Ben Perrin and you and other people who are in the space all have this feeling. It's not because MBK is a good salesman. Like, people are using the thing and there's no issues with it. And the price comes up all the time. Well, it's $200. There's nothing to it. The Passport Prime was released this week, I think, from Foundation, which has parts that will fail. The touchscreen and the battery will fail over time. We've seen this a million times in a million different devices, not just in hardware wallets, but in all sorts of different electronics. There's a camera on there that will have parts that will fail. There's no way to really, get those things back. It's not modular. And so you have the stripped down, Mark V for, what'd you say, 170 or something like that, US?
170 USD.
Do you know what the Passport Prime sells for?
If I had to guess, I'll say 190.
350. So you're going to buy a Passport Prime with all those parts that will fail. They are part of a planned obsolescence cycle. Or you're going to buy the infamous calculator from Coinkite that, whether you agree or disagree with the hardware, aesthetic, and agree or disagree with the sort of cypherpunk UI, agree or disagree with the difficulty or ease with which you can use that device, the fact of the matter is the likelihood that device lasts you 20 years is much, much, much greater than basically anything else on the market. And if you're a hodler, what else is more valuable to you than that? What else? There isn't anything that's more valuable to you than that. And so the button's improving, great. Screen improving, great. Gorilla Glass, great. But what I really care about is that there's no planned obsolescence involved with that device. And they're trying to iterate. When you make a device that good, the changes become smaller and the returns become a little less significant, but the price doesn't change. The software doesn't change. There's no new vulnerabilities, like you said. And for the people who want to use stuff like NFC and use the screen more often and do sends more often, the buttons are clickier. That's good stuff. That's a product that you want to support. And it's a product that so far has been basically the undisputed king for, I would say, what, close to a decade now, right? Something like that.
I don't know when it did Coldcard.
I think 2017 was the first one, I want to say. So, let's say they weren't, let's say they were the king in 2020, 7 years. Who's upended them? The only complaints I ever see about Coinkite are really more about MBK than the product. So, you don't like the way that guy talks. That's your business. Take it up with him. But the product he makes is rock solid. Just like all their stuff is rock solid. The Q is good. The block lock is good. The Sats card is good. Works with all the major wallets. Pablo's saying the Bull Bitcoin wallet, that too. Yeah, I see you, Pablo, that you want it to be waterproofed. That's going to cost you a couple extra bucks. And the question is, who wants that in a hardware wallet? Maybe some people, but
a good way to do it.
Isn't the point of the wallet to have, isn't the point of the wallet not to be indestructible? Isn't the point for you to do your plates?
No, because if there's ever a fire or flood, I think that's what he's mentioning.
Your plate's got to hold up.
Right. But then the device is lost. So just put it in a Ziploc bag or something, right?
Yeah, or whatever. I think actually Coinkite sells like a survivor case, now that I'm thinking about it. I could be wrong about that. Someone can fact check me. Anyway, before we go to the next story.
Argument, you probably want to destroy your Coldcard or wipe it after you generate your seeds. Because then if you have those on plates somewhere else, then if somebody gets access to your Coldcard somehow and gets access to it, which is difficult, well, at least if you wipe it, then
how many times do we say on this show that you want to be in a position to receive very easily, but be in a very difficult position when it comes to sending? Do we not say that all the time?
That's a you thing, and I agree with it. And I totally agree
this is a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer to me. You're not taking advantage of the defensibility of the asset if you're making it easy to send. So I don't really see the anyway. Before we go on, there's a couple hundred people, 300 or so people watching on Twitter. Go to YouTube, enjoy the visuals. The chat, as always, has the regulars in it. It's bumping. Go leave a like on the video, all that good stuff. You may find that you get more out of the show when you're bullshitting with the other people who watch it instead of watching on Twitter, where I can't see your comments and no one else can either. So anyway, where do you want to go next?
Let's talk about Ledger. We're talking about these hardware wallets and
the other side of the spectrum now here, the other side of the continuum.
Yeah, well, Ledger, they've had their issues. They are, I think it's no secret that we don't think it's the best product out there. They cater to shitcoins. That's one reason why you're looking at them and say, that's really the best. Their history of protecting or lack thereof of your information is another thing. And remember, their multi-sig service is a joke unless you want to get rugged. But there was a rumor floating around about a vulnerability with Ledger devices and the Android phones that use MediaTek processors, which from what I was doing some research, it's not a huge amount of devices, but still, Anyways, the rumor was that if you are using one of these Android phones with MediaTek processors and you interact with a Ledger device, and if you do that, you're just asking for a set of problems. And they say that you could get access to your device's PIN and also your seed, and that could be all stolen by a bad actor. That's the rumor. Ledger came out and they said this is all bullshit. And they say, that's not true. So a compromised phone will result in somebody getting access to the info on the phone. Nobody could dispute that. They say that the device PIN remains solely on the Ledger device, and it's only kept within the secure element on that device. And they also say that this shit, it was total bullshit. Why does FUD come out? This seems odd, out of the blue. I'm wondering who did this. Why the Coldcard 5 came out this week, right? Is there a connection between the two? I doubt it, but who knows? Maybe I'm joking. Maybe I'm not. I'm a Coldcard user, right? I'm not going to say, but who knows? It just seems rather funny that a piece of news came out and it got a lot of traction about there's some bullshit going on with Ledger, which is not true. I don't know, man. It's just, why did this come out all of a sudden? Engagement? Farming?
I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, they've got a team at Ledger trying to crack this stuff all the time, right? I think they might be one of the only hardware wallets that has a team like that.
Are they utilizing a firm out of Israel?
I don't know.
I seem to think it doesn't matter where they could get.
They could be, but they've made claims about cold cards in the past. They've made claims about their own wallets in the past. They've made claims about Trezor in the past. I think you're just best served, especially in this day and age, you're best served looking at the sort of broader discussion around hardware wallets. What do we see? We see Ledger at the center of data leaks. We see Ledger at the center of we will give up your keys if we are nudged to do so by law enforcement. We see Ledger selling hats to which you can attach your hardware wallet. I don't see Coinkite doing any of that stuff. I don't see Trezor doing any of that stuff. The only really company I hear about frequently in a negative light is these guys. And you may agree or disagree with their findings on this particular story or on the Coinkite stuff or on other security research they've done and instances in which they've been able to quote unquote extract pins from secure elements or what have you. But I simply just don't hear any of these stories from other companies. And by the way, Len, these guys have the biggest, war chest. So if any company was able to squelch negative stories before they came out, it would be these guys, right? Coinkite doesn't have a couple $100 million in cash, the way these guys might. And everyone is gunning for Coinkite, and there's always attempts to make it look like there's smoke there, but there's never any fire. Meanwhile, over here, what do I see? I see the behavior. I see the way that Pascal gets upset when he's on stage with MBK. I see the way that these guys are constantly playing defense against the latest data breach on their side of things, the latest law enforcement cooperation, the latest whatever. And by the way, in France, French authorities selling addresses of people who bought ledgers to Moroccan gangs, leading to deaths and kidnappings and whatnot. Like, you just don't see this stuff anywhere else. So I would stay away from these guys. Like, I can't say it any more clearly than that. I don't know why people are still looking at these guys as a wallet you should be buying. It's difficult for me to make that case at this point that you should be looking at these wallets at all.
ShakePay, we could talk about them really briefly.
Sure. Brand new news. Yeah.
The spread is now $0, 0%. So
on recurring buys, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to go and use them, go right ahead. It's going to be cheap to do so if you're in Canada. So
yeah.
Have nothing else really to add because that's just came out really late.
I'll add some stuff, and
thank you because I didn't do too much research aside from the fact I got that email before the show.
I'll preface it with that I like the guys at ShakePay. This is not a shot at ShakePay at all, but I don't think the spread is insignificant long term. Okay, I'll just start there. What you want to do is do your buys, and obviously Bull's a sponsor of the show, but we were using Bull before they sponsored this podcast. Okay. So this is not a new thing for us. Anytime we take on a sponsor, we're very cautious in making sure that we use those products before we take them on, or at least know, enough about them to be able to stand by them. ShakePay still sells Ethereum. Okay. ShakePay operates in a different realm than Bull does in a lot of ways in terms of reporting, in terms of requirements. ShakePay will shotgun KYC you if you haven't verified your identity in a while. ShakePay wants you to be in the app every day. They care about DAU and not about NGU, I think, in a lot of ways. They're interested in many things that are not necessarily directly adjacent to the Bitcoin ethos. Now, that's not everything, and it's not every person there. We know Carlo Campisi very well. We know Jean a little bit, and some of the guys at ShakePay and girls at ShakePay, good people. But their path is different than the one that Bull is on. Bull is not ever going to look to IPO. Bull is not ever going to look to become your bank account. Bull is not ever going to look to shotgun KYC you, or sell you a shitcoin, or worry about how many times a week you go on the website to use their service so they can sell it to investors. Bull cares about one thing. It's giving you Bitcoin non-custodially as fast as they can, as cheap as they can, and most importantly then, as privately as they can. They will help you with stuff like moving your house in Bitcoin. They'll help you with stuff like putting roots down somewhere else after selling your house using Bitcoin. They'll help you with all these things. These guys are experts. They're in multiple jurisdictions. ShakePay can't say the same thing. And so while the spreads are low, sure, or zero in this case on recurring, I just can't. I can't recommend them at this point. The shotgun KYC thing, I think, is if you do, even if you disagree with everything else, shotgun KYC should be a non-starter for you as a Bitcoiner, especially when there's other options here in Canada that we think are more representative of the Bitcoin ethos.
And don't forget, they were hacked not too long ago.
That's right.
And it was a very, very small percentage of their user base that was somehow gained. I think
still got them though. Still got them.
But they have that blemish in their record. And, well, it's time to dust out an old segment of the show, Joey.
Oh boy, here we go.
The No Coiner of the Week. It's been a long time since we've done it. People like this segment. I'll do it one time because there's a reason why I want to bring it up. I can't believe we had to under-retire it. Boris fucking Johnson.
Bojo.
Right? Like clearly there's been, this is truly a no coiner. This is the former Prime Minister of the UK. And he says on X, this is the reason why I'm picking on him. I'm not coming out of the blue. I have no beef against this dude. But he says that he's read a long time that he suspected Bitcoin is a giant Ponzi. And he's now hearing tales of woe that makes him fear that he's right. And now, I don't know who he talked to, what information he gained, but now in his eyes, Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme. And I really don't need to get into the specifics here on why Bitcoin is not a Ponzi. We all know why he's fucking wrong, right? Like, I don't have to get into it, but people will be happy to give up their wealth, put it in banks, and let them gatekeep this bullshit. The notion that Bitcoin is a Ponzi is a fucking joke. I can't believe all he had to do, this guy is not a dumb guy. Maybe he is, actually, after reading this, but it doesn't take much effort to fucking learn about Bitcoin and understand it's not a fucking Ponzi. People like this, every one of them that just comes to a quick conclusion without really diving deep. I'm not saying this specifically about Boris Johnson. I don't want to get in trouble with him or anything else. But in general, people like that, they can fucking suck my dick, right? They could do so in such a way, and I'll even do it right. I will stop shaving the nether regions for a couple of weeks, make sure things get nice and long. So then there's a nice string when you're gargling on my balls.
You're shaving how often do you shave your?
Enough.
We'll talk about another.
But I'll leave a nice string for you. You could floss the nice between those crooked teeth, and you're good to go. All you have to do is read his fucking tweet or his post, and you understand why he's my fucking no coiner of the week.
Yeah. Bitcoin doesn't meet the technical definition of a Ponzi anyways. No central operator, no guarantee of gains. Like, none of this stuff it doesn't meet the technical definition. Okay. I'll just leave it at that. But the most damning thing about this, I got a quote for you. Okay. We are going to make Britain a global hub for crypto asset technology. Do you know which British Prime Minister said that?
I'm gonna guess it's Boris fucking Johnson
in 2022.
Yeah, he's changed his tune in 4 years.
So what a retard! I can't believe it.
Changing their mind, right? Like, you don't have to live and die by one particular thing. People can adapt, but he must have been briefed about Bitcoin when he said that. What's changed since then? What information, what money might have been exchanged as a result for him? I don't know.
Johnson comparing it to like Pokemon cards and shit too. Like, come on, bro.
I'm not trying to say he got paid to say this, but who knows? Anything is possible these days. But DracoTel. Let's talk about this.
Before we go on, do you know, did you read the article?
I couldn't because it was behind a paywall.
I always, for these ones, I try.
I don't
even
fucking bother.
The archive. Do you know what he based his what the big core of his argument was?
No. There
was a guy in some village. I can't remember the name of it. I'll try and pull it up here. Oxfordshire. An Oxfordshire resident gave £500 to a pub acquaintance who promised to double it through Bitcoin, and eventually lost about 20,000 pounds after paying repeated fees over 3.5 years to the same guy.
Clearly, it's a scam.
Must
It's a
be.
Ponzi. Yeah.
Must be.
Imagine
Imagine you buy a lemon and take it to a bad mechanic, and then you just write an article in like Mechanics Today talking about how cars are a scam. We have to get out. Cars are a Ponzi. I knew it the whole time.
you know what? I take it back. He was right. This thing is a fucking Ponzi.
It's over.
Fact, after this, I'm gonna fucking sell everything.
It's over.
Go right into
Get
USDT.
taxed on it. Go.
Oh fuck! I'm gonna get taxed. But a good thing I bought everything at $120,000. So
Yeah.
if anything, this
losses, bro.
yeah. So fuck them all.
I love it. I love it.
DracoTel or DracoTel. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It's a global data eSIM. Interesting product. It's $19 USD per year, and it's also pay as you go, the wholesale rates. There's no expiration, no borders, and with this you could pay with Lightning. And their claims, there's no expiring data, your balance never expires, you pay by the megabyte, unrestricted hotspots, 4G and 5G, and the prices vary by country. For example, the US, if you're going to use it over there, it's $1.26 USD per gigabyte. Canada is as low as $3.31 USD per gigabyte. So I'm not sure if that's any good or not. These are the prices I see. In fact, it's actually pretty fucking expensive. If you look at it in Canada compared to other parts. Europe, they get such cheap rates for whatever. Either way, no KYC when registering and paying. You choose whatever network you want. The key here, it's data only. No calls, no SMS. So
that's okay now, though, really. Like, you don't need,
Right. But some people might need SMS, but if you don't care about calls, if you don't care about SMS, it's an eSIM, a global eSIM. You pick the network you want to use, and you're going to use that. It's really cool. And you pay with Lightning. And like I say, it varies by country. I was saying that $3.31 in Canada is expensive. I'm not saying DracoTel is expensive. I'm pointing out that Canada's rates are expensive. So if you want to use it, say, in England, and you want to talk about Boris Johnson being a no coiner, you could do that. Lots of different options here. I thought it was cool for people that want to travel and don't want to give up their information. Pay with Lightning. DracoTel, DracoTel. Check it out.
It's on Stacker News. If you, I mean, you should be going there once in a while. I don't go there that often, but this is a good find by you. You know what's interesting? I was just having this conversation with my wife today about how expensive cell phone service is in this country, and how, you know, it seems to me like you're constantly getting just nickel and dimed for extra shit, like every contract renewal, and every time you buy a new phone or whatever, right? It's even with all that nickel and diming, the real biggest issue for me is that you're just constantly dealing with someone who seems to be has contempt for you on the other side of the call or the desk or whatever. Like, no matter who you're dealing with, this is major inconvenience for this guy or girl who's making minimum wage, you know, if I'm lucky somewhere in Canada, but probably somewhere in India, trying to, you know, renew my phone plan, renegotiate my price, like whatever. Right. And now I guess I don't even have to worry about this. Is that what I'm taking from this story? Like, I don't have to deal with that.
And it's eSIM, right?
I mean, my card's eSIM, my phone's eSIM anyways, but I think a lot of people who don't have eSIMs yet will wake up to this too and be like, wow, this is really convenient. Yeah. You know, you're going overseas, buy this instead of having to go to a little cell phone shop in Birmingham, you know, dodge the third world no-go zone on the way to the cell phone shop. Make sure your phone is like double strapped to your chest so it can't be stolen by a guy on a Deliveroo scooter. There's a little British lore for you. Anyway, you want to do one more before we go to the next half?
Let's see what's left. Yeah, let's do that. We have less than 1 million Bitcoin left.
Wild. Can you believe it? That's crazy, eh? That is crazy.
So to date, we have a little bit over 20 million Bitcoin that is now in circulation, that has been released by the network, and the remaining 1 million is going to be released sometime between now and 2140, and it's going to be a scaled approach, less and less every 4 years. And if you're doing the percentage, that's 95%, a little bit more of all Bitcoin that's been mined to date. It's out there in circulation. That's incredible. And for people that want to understand what scarcity is, that's scarcity. It's not fucking gold. It's not silver. It's not diamond. It's not all. This is fucking scarcity, no matter what those idiots are trying to peddle you. Some numbers here. It took less than 1 year to mine the first 1 million Bitcoin. It took a little less than 2 years to mine 5 million Bitcoin. 3 years and 8 months for 10 million. 7 years, 15 million Bitcoin. 17 years for 20 million. Interesting.
Last 1 million will take 100 years. Here's a question for you. Diminishing returns, obviously, in the block reward. A lot of people talking about, in the Yappers University space here in the Bitcoin podcast world. A lot of people talking about what does this mean for the 4-year cycle. We got another halving next year, or 2 years from now, I should say, and we're kind of getting into this era where the reward is just so small. It's so small, and I just wonder what you think it means for the 4-year, having equals number go up cycle that we've been so used to. Although it may already be breaking, to be honest with you, but I'd be curious to hear your thoughts.
It may or may not. We haven't finished the 4-year cycle to truly say for certain. And if you want to be honest, it's not like you have a lot of data to go off of, right? It's not like you have 30 cycles, which you only have a few. So the sample size is rather low. Who knows if this is something that could be repeatable? I don't know. The one thing that is going to be interesting to see play out is mining is going to be very, very, like, the rewards are, like you say, it's diminishing every 4 years.
Yeah.
When you get to the 2030s or 2040s, you're getting fuck all in terms of Bitcoin. And mining gets more and more challenging to do. The cost of the equipment, electricity, all that shit. It better be worth your while to do it. Right? So,
I guess. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
That means,
sure.
just by looking at that, man, the price should be going up. This is going to be fun to watch. Like, the next 20 years or so, the price of Bitcoin and NFA, of course, it should fucking absolutely rip.
I know it should.
Right? For people that are still around during that time, because who knows what happens in 20 years. Maybe a bomb will go off that just eliminates a lot of us. Who the fuck knows? Yeah.
Can't wait. If you're with us on video, hang in. We're not going anywhere. If you're with us on audio, there's more than 500 people watching, by the way, Len. If you're with us on audio, come back tomorrow for the back half. So that is to say, for the new people, if you're live, stay. We're not going anywhere. If you're listening on the podcast, the rest of the show comes out tomorrow morning. So until then, take care of yourselves.
And don't forget to floss with my nut hair.
Okay. Listen, back half of the show, we got a new sponsor. Okay. I think Nathan Fitzsimmons from Ben Perrin's channel. He's a channel manager. I don't know what he does over there. He's the lead guy, though, at this point. I think I talked to him more than I talked to Ben. They run a service over there called Bitcoin Mentor. And, we don't often take sponsors on the show because I don't like dealing with people that I don't know that well. But I know Nate and Ben very well these days. Obviously, like, we do a show together now on his channel, and that show's fucking hitting hard. But I think there's another important reason why I wanted to do this. And I talked to Len about it. I think we agree. I don't want to speak for you, but you tell me if I'm wrong about any of this. It's becoming more important to have a setup for protecting your Bitcoin that may be difficult to execute on your own. Whether it's inheritance, whether it's multi-sig, whether it's moving jurisdictions or having jurisdictional arbitrage, keys in different places, blah, blah, blah. There's a ton of different stuff that you can do with Bitcoin. And as the sovereign individual thesis continues to come to fruition, my view is that it's important that you have someone you can not only get a quality piece of information from that has been vetted, is correct, but also someone you can trust. And there's not too many people in the space I trust. I trust Len. I trust the Bull guys. I trust Mark Jeftovic. I trust Twan. And I trust the guys at Bitcoin Mentor. There's a lot of guys you will be familiar with if you listen to this show over there. Nathan and Ben, obviously Jesse Berger over there, and a few other Bitcoiners who are notable in the space, not only for their contributions in terms of sharing information and building community and stuff like that, but also I think in terms of their long-term reputation for honesty. And that's really what you're after with a service like this, is knowledge and honesty. And it's hard to find those two things as the price of Bitcoin goes up. And, as we talked about a bunch in that first hour, the number of people who are looking to grab your Bitcoin from you through scams, through dishonest activity, through leaks, through hacks, and through taxes is going up. So why not bring in a group of experts who can help? And we think Bitcoin Mentor can do that for you if you're looking for something white glove, ongoing, and really best in silo, like the rest of the stuff we advertise on this show. We put a link in the description. If you're thinking about it, you want to talk to somebody about it, you can talk to me if you want. My DMs are open, or you can talk to Nathan and Ben over at The Mentor. Just use our code, tell them we sent you. And I don't know, you probably get some kind of discount. We get some kind of kickback, the usual stuff. I don't know exactly what the deal is, but I feel good about recommending that service. And it's becoming more and more important to have a real plan that someone who has real knowledge helps you execute. And that's all I'll say.
Want to talk about the job report in Canada?
I love this. I love it.
I'm not sure if we did talk about this one specifically.
It's new. It's new this week, or late last week, I should say. Late last week.
Okay, because I remember we talked. Then it was the U.S. one, but either way, Canada.
The U.S. one we talked about was the Department of Downward Revisions got they're 18 months in a row or something.
No, but the last job report for the U.S. was bloody awful, and this one for Canada from February is bloody awful as well. 84,000 jobs were lost, and this is a surprise to the economists out there because they were predicting 10,000 job gain. What a huge fucking miss. And this 84,000 job drop is the largest outside of COVID in over 15 years.
Crazy.
So unemployment rate, they're saying, is 6.7%. And they're saying this jumped 0.2% since January. But they're not capturing into people that just simply stop looking for work. They just are tired. They're not doing it. So they're not captured in this statistic. This is for people that are actively looking and so forth. The reality is the unemployment rate countrywide is probably at or higher 10%.
It's got to be 15. I think it's 15. I'll tell you why after you're done doing the summary. Yeah.
It could be. And of this, 108,000 full-time jobs were lost. 24,000 part-time jobs were added.
Terrific.
Now,
do you know what? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, please.
No. You finish up, and then
I was just going to add 24,000 jobs part-time added. You could look at that, just strip it away, and say, "Wow, this is good. We added 24,000 part-time jobs." But if you take into consideration the whole thing, the 108,000 full-time jobs lost, that's rough. And furthermore, they're saying that the youth workers ages 15 to 24 are the ones that and it's historically like that. They were hit the hardest, 47,000 jobs lost, and the unemployment rate for them is 14%, and that's probably understating it in reality. We haven't yet gone to the point where people are going to be these young workers are looking for summer jobs. They're not going to be going to McDonald's, Starbucks, whatever, because those people out there, those jobs out there are now taken, unfortunately, by people of more experience, people that are older that need a second job because things have gotten more expensive. So these young people are now getting pushed out from that. Also, there may be some AI taking into consideration here that is taking some jobs. It's tough for these people. And if you really want to go further more into this thing, they're saying Quebec and British Columbia were the two provinces that got hit the hardest. Interesting. Quebec, they're the separation discussion is always going on over there, and BC, well, they're a mess, and it's going to continually be a mess over there. Why is this happening? The thing that they're saying is because it's the trade and tariffs. This is as a result of that.
Unbelievable.
You can go a little bit further into this. It's the 1-year anniversary of Carney taking over the leadership and, of course, being Prime Minister of Canada. This is what we get as a result of I'm not saying it's all because of him.
Tough environment. I'll give him that. But
it is. But this is.
He was elected on being the guy who could get you through a tough environment. Was he not?
Absolutely. But hey, it is what it is. I'll hand it over to you because I know you want to say something on this.
Well, you brought it up, and I'll drive the point home. Employment down in every age group under 55. Unemployment up, I should say, in every age group under 55. Unemployment down in the 55s and over. So now if you're a Canadian kid, you're competing with every third world villager coming over here on, fake scam job offers. And also your grandparents for the jobs that you would otherwise basically have handed to you. So you could gain experience and propel the economy and build a resume and build skills that will help the country prosper long-term. Incredible stuff going on in Canada. Truly mind-numbing how fucking retarded this place has become. That 84,000 jobs represents 44% of all the gains over the last 4 months. So you basically lost 2 months of 2 months of growth there, quote unquote growth. Who knows where that growth was? I don't have the data in front of me. But the interesting thing for me continues to be this story that we are always the victim of policies happening elsewhere in the world. But I think this is starting to wane on the populace. We are canceling major projects related to oil and gas because of First Nations tribes who are, taking time off drinking mouthwash to evict people from trailers in which they've been living for 40 years. We have problems with interprovincial trade that were supposed to be resolved in the first 60 days or 90 days, I think, of Prime Minister Carney's tenure. They've not been resolved as of yet. We have rate hikes in the forecast for Canada, though I don't think that's actually going to happen because the 10-year doesn't really give you that indication. And also, like I tweeted today, that's assuming that CUSMA is renegotiated on basically the same footing as we have now, which is rather unlikely, not only because we've made, I think, enemies of the Trump administration's trade negotiators and the Trump administration's top dogs, but also, Len, because I think the tariffs were meant to hit us a little harder than they did, and they couldn't really use them against us as much as we were led to believe by our media, not by the American media, but by our media, thanks to CUSMA. So you may remember that when the CUSMA or when the tariffs were branded as illegal or unconstitutional, whatever the ruling was there, maybe a month ago or so, we said on the show, and I think I put out a separate video as well on this channel, that the thing is that as far as Canada is concerned, it doesn't really affect us one way or another. Most of our goods are covered by this trade agreement that so far we've been enjoying. The likelihood that the U.S. renegotiates CUSMA and puts us on our heels a little bit, I think, is pretty high. Trump needs a win, and it certainly doesn't look like it's going to come in Iran. So maybe it'll come north of the border instead. We're going to make the Canadians pay for this major project with tariffs. And I'll just reiterate that producers, what is the best way to phrase this? When our media talks about, and our politicians talk about how, it's consumers that pay tariffs, not producers, that's not entirely true for us and them in the same way. We're much more dependent on America. And so when America throws a tariff our way and we tariff back, reciprocally, we do pay for that, and they pay the tariff on stuff that we sell them. But the thing is, they can get the stuff that we sell them from other places, and that may not be tariffed the same way. And so the uneven nature, the asymmetric nature of that trade relationship means that no matter what, our ministers tell you on power and politics, the likelihood that it's actually hitting the U.S. as hard as it's hitting us is zero. It's zero. It's not 0.1%, 0.2%. It's 0% chance, 0% likelihood. We're going to see a big change in this country, I think, in terms of jobs and in terms of economic drivers that have been big for us in the past. Oil and gas is one that doesn't seem to be coming to fruition. I'd be curious to hear Doomberg's take on this, given that we just spoke, 6 weeks ago now at this point or so about this exact topic. And for the first time in probably a year and a half, it looks like they are going to be wrong about the direction of oil and gas. But the other big one, I think, Len, is automotive. Ontario has a huge quote unquote automotive sector. I'm using air quotes because manufacturing means something different to someone building something in their garage than it does someone building something under a trade agreement. If you're the guy who puts the final screw in the door of the Prius, it's a Canadian car, even though the materials and the labor and, the bulk of the work, the lion's share of the work were done in another country, and it's shipped back and forth over borders many times, and all these different complications and exogenous factors play into, what the nature of that manufacturing relationship is with the country in which the car is sold. I think you're going to see a big change in that sector because it sounds like the Americans want to build cars over there. It sounds like we're going to let the Chinese bring in 50,000 EVs. 50,000 is not a big number in terms of total vehicles, but it is a big number in terms of EVs. And with these other car manufacturers looking to get into that market, it's going to be it's going to have an impact on automotive in this country. And then, of course, there's all sorts of runoff jobs, second order effects from those industries, oil and gas and car manufacturing. So you have all these things going on. And if you think the 84,000 jobs lost in a month is bad, I bet you get a worse print than that before the end of the year, if I had to guess. I think that's fairly likely because this is all with the backdrop of Canadian purchasing power is way down, GDP per capita is way down.
Let's throw in higher cost of energy.
That's right.
If you have that, it's going to be more expensive to do business, and people will have less money to spend, and less money to spend makes then the economy spin. I
totally agree.
Right. So now it becomes a problem, right? This whole
it's a flywheel, right? It's going the wrong way.
Yeah. What was it this morning? I saw the price of gas per liter here around $1.60-ish, a little bit less than that. Diesel was $2.10 per liter. And some parts of the world are probably laughing at how cheap that is. But over here, we haven't hit those prices for a long time. And now it could get even worse. You hear these quote unquote experts saying you're going to potentially double this price.
Yeah.
And not to, like, who the fuck knows what's going to happen?
No one knows. But the thing is, like, I think people are tired of the piss in my ear and tell me it's raining attitude from the top of the food chain. Whether it's business leaders or politicians or the media, David Cochran and Rosie Barton in the spotlight, thanks to Travis Drenage's testimony.
Well,
I think everyone's kind of realizing that, like, the jig is up. And actually,
no,
I think they are. I think they're starting.
You want to know why I'm thinking not?
Okay.
Is if there's an election today, who do you think is going to form government?
Well, the Liberals will form government. Yeah, for sure.
Well, and will they do so? Will they get more seats, you think, than last time? Less seats? The same amount of seats?
Yeah, I think they will get more seats, but I don't think it's necessarily indicative. I don't think voting patterns are indicative of necessarily this kind of information being disseminated accurately. Well, I think what you probably are still seeing is people think that, things are bad. Yeah, we're not getting the whole truth, but I'd still rather see Carney there than Poilievre dealing with Trump.
You know what?
I think that's more a Poilievre problem than a Carney problem, which I've said on the show before. The conservatives won't win as long as he's the leader.
It's people, for whatever reason, love the Liberals. If you are in power and things aren't going well, historically, you tend to punish the party that's there because the voter will associate all the wrongdoings
they only have so many choices. Yeah, I get it. Sure.
And so because of that, it's like, I think they're, for whatever reason, they see what's going on. Like, they just go a slightly different tangent here. Toronto, there's some neighborhoods in Toronto. They're thinking about doing a virtual gated community. I'm not sure if you heard about this story or if you heard about this, but because there is a lot of violence going on, theft, home invasions, it's happening everywhere in Toronto as well.
Yeah.
They're turning to these virtual gated communities, and it is going to be hiring private people to help make sure security is done right. You don't get this when things are good. You get this when things are bad. People are afraid to park their high-end cars or even shitty cars outside.
They're forming enclaves. They're forming enclaves. Yeah, totally.
We've been told by the Toronto police to leave the keys at the front, so that way you won't have to interact with the burglar when it comes in. Right? This is an erosion of the middle class. And you look at this, why stick around? But you know what Toronto's going to vote for next election federally is going to be predominantly red.
Yeah.
They're not associating any of these. And it's not like it's been a change all of a sudden. It's been just a slow erosion here over the past 5-10 years. Why? It's because there's been some policies put in place that created these problems. People are not associating that, oh, you know what? They may have done it. Maybe we should be voting for somebody else.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that you could vote out of your way to this problem.
You can't.
I'm saying,
that's the other problem.
You're looking at it like, fuck, Ford was even talking about trying to legalize pepper spray today.
I know. Talk about a sign of the decline. That is crazy.
And he's lobbying the federal government
followers
to have pepper spray, which is illegal right now in Canada to carry and use. as a means of defense, and he's trying to lobby the federal government to change the criminal code to allow people to do this.
Yeah.
Well, like, what world do we live in when
I mean,
people are doing
not to yet again rag on the same shit that we talk about like every week or two, but we got to stop pretending that immigration is not at the core of all these problems. Like housing, healthcare, education, you name it, you know, like crime, obviously. It's just like, why are we pretending? I don't understand why we keep pretending. And Ford actually today hinted at it, and in one of his press conferences, you know, I think he said, you know, before 2015 we never had these problems, and yeah, think about what happened.
They were not as large. They get magnified, or they get
whatever.
But
the point I want to make is that the guy who runs he's like the Queen's Park correspondent, Colin DeMello, you know, puts us what I view as a snarky remark. Ford is trying to make reference to immigration and immigrants. Like, well, of course he fucking is. So are the rest of us. You know, we're all sick of it. And I think, like, again, I think people realize this is a problem, but they're still placing their trust in Carney over Polyev, more because Polyev is just, he's too used car salesman-y. You know, people watch the show every week. Like, I'm not saying anything new, but you know, we said earlier that he was going to lose, and he lost. And like, you know, the poly market was in his favor for so long, but you watch the guy on the camera and you just like, you know, you don't like the cut of his jib. It's just the way it is. And
why did the party give him a vote of confidence to allow him?
Because they don't get it. Because they don't get it either.
They don't have anybody.
Yeah, or that's one of the two. Yeah.
I don't know. Nobody else has come to the forefront and has come to show themselves as an alternative to Polyev.
And it's interesting because yeah.
Right. I'm just saying, until that happens, you're not going to have anybody. You're not going to have the party, the rank and file say, let's go ahead and go against Polyev. Let's go with the other person, because there is no other person.
The funniest thing is that, like, Canadian politics, it's so hard to leave Canadian politics and go into business or do anything productive that will net you a salary. And it's even less likely that you leave a nice salary and a life of notoriety and success to go into Canadian politics. You know, Carney, for all his successes, was doing nothing, you know, before he joined the political scene here in Canada. He's leading Brookfield, right? It's like yeah, but he doesn't really have to leave Brookfield. He just puts his assets in a trust and Brookfield keeps running, right? So he's got the best of both worlds. But if you look at the liberal politicians who said they were going to leave to spend time with family or reevaluate their priorities, they ended up all coming back because there's nothing out there for them. You know, Sean, whatever his name is there, the tall guy who's, Fraser, like, there's nothing out there for him. Anita Anand, nothing out there for her. Jolie, nothing out there for her. Even Trudeau, you know, ran through Katy Perry now. Like, that's not the life that he thought he would be living. I am sure of it while he was PM. And the Conservatives are having the same problem now. Their MPs can't go anywhere because there's nothing out there for them. They've proven themselves being competent, and no one, even in the business world, who's typically, you know, aligned with the conservative ethos, wants to come and play politics for a party that is rudderless. And so until that party goes into a sort of a self-destruction and self-immolates in a very public way, in a very embarrassing way, which is going to happen in the next election, whether it's this year or next year, they're not going to get any talent. That party needs to be gutted from the inside. It has to be, because they're lost, man. You said it. They gave that guy like an overwhelming vote of confidence to return. And I see his podcast appearances, and it's the same shit.
They're in a difficult position.
He can't speak.
The Conservative Party of Canada, because they have to be, and I've said this many times, they have to have a federalist agenda. And if you're having this talk within Alberta, which is your grassroots, and they want to talk about separation,
they're going to leave. Yeah.
You can't cater to both parties, the federalist side and the separatist side. So they're going to lose some support. I don't know what's going to happen as a result of all this.
Yeah, I'm not
Maybe
sure.
a third party, federal party, is going to be the same way that the Reform or Alliance, and I don't know, maybe you'll have something like that. Just rinse and repeat, same shit over and over again. Whatever. I don't. You know what happened this past week? We haven't talked about it. Some big news, because it looks like the Liberals are closer to
throws my election call into question for sure.
No, to a majority government. I'm not gonna.
I thought there was gonna be an election, but they're not gonna need it.
They may need it. You know where? And I'll give you ammunition for that argument.
Sure.
Where it may still be possible. But first, I mean, we'll talk about this, and I'll explain why it will still be possible. We have the MP from Nunavut, who was an NDP, crossed the floor and became a Liberal. And because of this, now the Liberals are closer to majority. There's 3 by-elections taking place April 13th, I think it is. Or the fuck, yeah, April 13th. Three by-elections, 2 in Toronto, which are going to stay red, and 1 in Quebec. When the 2 in Toronto become red again, then the Liberals have a razor-thin majority, and whatever happens in Quebec is going to be just added, to be gravy for them. But I want to just add quickly too about this NDP person that switched. I mean, why? Yeah. We have a leadership race that's going on March 29th for the NDP, and she left. She was campaigning for Avi Lewis, pumping his campaign as recently as last week. Maybe she was whipped to do that. Maybe not. I don't know. But either way, she was there doing that. And now when I say whip, this the political means of whip. I'm saying anything else. This happens all the time where votes get whipped and so forth. Just for people that are wondering, the NDP are now down to 6 elected members. They're in fucking real problem. The previous dude left him in a fucking massive hole. And why would she cross? Is it the Nunavut 3000 initiative? Right? Has a financial interest in something called Nunavut Holdings. That is a company that does construction and shit like that and renovations. $2.6 billion, by the way, for this Nunavut 3000 that's going to build 3,000 housing units by 2030. $2.6 billion for 3,000 units. I'm going to read just one last time. $2.6 billion for 3,000 units. And so now she has jumped ship. I wonder what sort of values she has that are similar to the conservative MPs that jumped ship. She being an NDP, those MPs from the Conservative Party and now Liberals, do they share values? I don't know. Either way. But to go to your question about, I don't want to gloss over it. Could there be an election? Maybe. And this is how it could be done. Is if Carney says, I need a stronger mandate because he's got a razor-thin majority, or we'll assume he has one, after Cosmo's ripped up. And he has to say to the people, I need a stronger mandate in order to negotiate a new deal with the United States. That could be the only thing that he could, I think, he could go to an election. Other than that, I don't know. I don't think there's going to be an election for some time. You're on mute, by the way.
Sorry, yeah, I was stuck in snot. Do you know about Nunavut Holdings?
Yeah, Nunavut Holdings Inc. She has a financial interest in that. That's the company that does construction and renovations in the region over in Nunavut. And so, like, the ties between that, the Nunavut 3000, like I say, I'm going to just say it again, $2.6 billion, building 3,000 units by 2030.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of the answer, I think. There's another story about a university in Nunavut getting $50 million from Carney, and from the Liberal government in November 2025. What can you say, really, right? Like, and I think her son, is it her son or Generu's son who's got the...
No, it's hers. Her son.
Her son's got a pedophilia charge.
I have, you know what?
I'm not saying that it's like, I don't know what the story is there. Okay.
Right. And I don't want to know, to be honest.
But the point is that you can target any MP to cross the floor. Presumably, right? Go to anybody. Millennial Moron, by the way, called this like a year ago that she was going to cross. So good for him. You can target anybody you want. You really do feed the fire when you look at someone like It'll Out and you get this Nunavut Holdings thing, 500 million, whatever it is. You get the university, another 50 million. You get the kid who's got a pedo charge. And it's like, why her? Why? There's not another MP you could target. Is it because she's like easy to compromise? Is that what I'm hearing here? Like, if I was one of these talking head conservative influencers like Mario Zendaya or whatever that fucking guy's name is, the bald guy, or Mark Nixon or one of these other guys, who, by the way, the Conservative Party should like out and out cut ties with, disavow. They're killing the chances of they're getting elected as well. This is what I'd be talking about. I would never stop talking about it. And the reason that it's important to talk about is because soon it probably will be illegal to talk about it in this country. It's not in the public interest. It goes against the public good. It calls into question the legitimacy of the institutions. Blah 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 blah. All these bills that are coming down the pipeline here.
Yeah,
you're getting to what?
People are distracted by other things. We talk.
They're distracted for sure. They're distracted for sure. But it's like
this is just.
But it's like why? Like why? Again, show me someone's behavior, and I'll tell you what kind of person that guy is or girl is. And I've seen a lot now. I got a pretty big sample size. I got a year in Sussex. I got 2 Bank of England or 2 central bank tenures, and I got Brookfield. And I don't know. Cunning is probably the kindest word you could use, right? He's very cunning. This prime minister has his priorities ironclad, knows how to execute on a plan, and knows where the weak links in the chain are. It seems like, doesn't it?
He's doing everything possible to ensure longevity of his political career.
For sure.
He's as a politician, he's doing a wonderful job for ensuring that he remains prime minister. And like I say, people are distracted by other things. And with all these job losses, price of gas going up, they're looking at other things that are more impactful to their lives immediately and not really caring much about a floor closer from Nunavut.
Yeah.
And it's just, even closer to home, you had those shots that were fired at the U.S. consulate last week.
I know, in Toronto, yeah.
Right? Like, this stuff doesn't happen in
the first
Canada.
world. Yeah.
Right. Like, this is like
there's like all these Palestine freaks like chanting shit in the streets, calling for the death of Americans and death of Jews and stuff. It's like, what do we do? Like, it's not about what cause you support or what cause you don't support. It's like, in a first world country, you don't do this. This is not.
Then on the flip side,
behavior.
You had the march yesterday. The cleric came by, landed. Apparently, he's now a citizen of Canada.
What is the deal with this guy? I don't know the deal.
I
with
don't
this
know.
Guy. I've seen the story, but I don't know really the background.
I don't understand how he achieved Canadian citizenship. I have no idea. There's a lot of things that I just can't fucking can't connect dots. But the fact he's here appears that he was marching in some parade, and you have the two sides just yelling at each other. Flags were burned and people put in jail and shit like that. We live at a time where people are just pissed off and divisive, and it just to further compound the problem, when you have broken money and when people can't pay for food, can't pay for rent, they're fucking pissed. They go out.
Yeah.
It just now becomes a powder keg. And like, go back, shooting at a consulate, like,
it's crazy.
I get it. You're angry with what the United States is doing. I get it. But go out and fucking protest. Do it right. Go get a piece of paper or cardboard.
Get a permit. Get a permit.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And do it the proper way, but don't fucking shoot and then whatever. Apparently,
it's interesting.
The car was stolen too. On top of all that.
Well, at least at least next time someone shoots at you, you'll have pepper spray handy. Do you know who the other employee of Nunavut Holdings is, by the way, besides Lori?
Her husband.
It's her husband.
Yeah.
The story gets worse the more you look. The more you squint, the worse it gets.
A couple of quick stories. The Canadian Armed Forces, they did a training exercise near Fairbanks.
The what?
The Canadian Armed Force. Remember, if you change just one letter, and they're going to be recruiting people from abroad from joining in. So, like, I am not officially calling. So the Canadian Armed Forces, they did a training.
Oh my god!
Sorry, Armed Forces. My mistake. Armed Forces. Fuck. How could I do that Freudian slip?
Oh,
they did a training exercise near Fairbanks, Alaska. It got fucking cold, -43 Celsius, and apparently there was they were doing it, showing off how tough they are, blah blah blah, and some frostbite was discovered. And days later, after the fact that this happened, one guy lost a thumb from the frostbite.
It's just so shameful.
30 soldiers minimum suffered it. Could be as high as 60.
Is that a life-altering injury, by the way, frostbite? I think it is, right?
If you lose a thumb,
that's life-altering. Yeah, totally.
For sure it is.
Yeah.
Right? That's what separates us from a lot of fucking things. Anyways, don't want to make light of this, but what is kind of disturbing, though, is that this information was never made public until the family members took it to the media, and then at that point, then it became known. Like, that's pretty sad. These people are giving up their lives to be serving the country, and they weren't given proper equipment to deal with the cold. And then furthermore, once they do suffer injuries, the families are the ones that have to break the stories to the rest of the world. Like,
Yeah.
give me a break. Like, who wants to be part of the Canadian Armed Forces after hearing shit like
How
this?
much
I
would it
wouldn't.
cost to just go to sale and buy proper gear, you think?
I don't know. And is there going to be proper gear to deal with 43 that's at sale? I think you might have to get to some really specialized
Why?
equipment.
That's
I
ice
don't-
fishing.
I
That's
don't
ice
go-
fishing temperature.
Is
It's
it?
not, yeah. It's not
I-
like you can get that at sale. You can get
Can
that
you?
at
Okay,
Bass
then.
Pro. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. For 100%.
Just spray paint some camo gear thing on it.
Whatever. Like you can get it. I don't understand this. This is insane. Just go to the store. Like, what
Yeah.
are we talking about here? I guess the procurement backlogs and bottlenecks and whatever may be the problem, or they got to buy Canadian now, which is another thing that's going on, right? So who knows what the issue was there? But the idea that you can't get gear for -40, what are people doing when they're going fishing? That's how they're dressing. That's what they're dressing for. You know, they're not worried about it. So
Think their electric cars
Embarrassing.
could get up there?
I doubt it.
It's not going to start. No.
No.
Do you want to do the Brampton versus Hamilton?
Let's go to the
man
Brampton
segment?
Hamilton, man. Brought to you by 256 Heat. My miner is running. You can't hear it. I just cashed in another nice set of sats courtesy of Ocean Pool. Don't hold your tomatoes, okay? I don't care what you think about Ocean Pool. I don't want to hear it. I don't give a shit about your opinion about that. Save it for Twitter. Tweet at somebody about how they haven't taken a stance on BIP 110. Nobody cares. Go touch grass. Go to the gym. If you can't squat 225, save it. I don't care what your opinion is. The miner's running, and it's from my friend Tuan at 256 Heat. If you want to heat your house and you're tired of paying to heat your house and want to instead break even or be paid for that heat, there's only one way to do it, and it's with Tuan. If you go to Tuan's website, there's not a shopping list or a list of items. Why? It's not because Tuan wants to inconvenience you. It's because Tuan will get on a call with you, talk about your square footage, talk about your electricity costs, talk about your situation, and make sure that whatever he gives you is perfect for you. If he can't help you, he'll tell you that too. He's turned down customers many times. I talked to somebody at the World Outlook Conference, Len, who told me that after many an hour spent with Tuan or whatever, that they just couldn't come to a way to heat his big farmhouse. So it didn't work out for him, but it probably will work out for you, especially if you're in Ontario, where Len and I are. So give him a call. Go to the website, 256heat, 256heat.com, and tell him we sent you. You get a discount. I don't know what the discount is, 5%, 10%, something like that. And support the show. Do it in a cool way that makes sense for you. And as we talked about off the hop here, it's 20 degrees one day, -20 the next day here in Canada for the next month or so. Never too late to pick one of these things up. So go there now and enjoy, man. Heat your home with hash with 256 Heat.
Got a couple of beauty stories. So one is the
Can't
Hamilton,
wait.
one is the Brampton.
There's
man.
700 people watching this show, and I guarantee there's some new people. This is a segment where Len reads me 2 true crime stories, and I try and tell which one came from Hamilton and which one came from Brampton. Now, if you're not Canadian, Brampton has a very specific diaspora population that you may or may not be aware of. I suggest you look it up before we talk about the crimes being committed, and it'll give you some insight into why I guess a certain way, and I'll explain to you why I guess a certain way as well before we finish.
So story number 1 is 4,000 stolen chocolate bars recovered in Ontario.
Damn.
Yeah. So police recovered thousands of chocolate bars, sunglasses, perfume, and other goodies following a routine traffic stop. And they believe that those arrested have been involved in organized crime ring that has been targeting retail operations. 3 people arrested, 2 adults, 1 youth, and they're looking for another suspect. And this all unfolded on January 4th, just before 11 p.m., when they spotted a driver improperly wearing a seatbelt.
Oh, this is getting easier by the minute here. Okay.
During the investigation, the officers found that the driver had a suspended license and the vehicle was prepared for impoundment. And several items were discovered, stolen items were discovered. And they found a few things. They issued summons to open up everything in the car, a warrant to open up the car. What they found were 4,000 chocolate bars, sunglasses, cologne, perfume, candy, gum, cough lozenges, protein bars, 5-hour energy drinks. The stolen property is believed to be $16,000 worth, and 3 parties were charged, and they're going to go for they're held for bail hearings, blah blah blah, and the 4th individual remains outstanding. That is story number 1.
4,000 chocolate bars. That's a lot. Are they
Story
melted
number
when they
2.
got them out of the trunk?
Yeah, they were all hidden in the trunk. I can't believe they got all that from
Interesting. Okay.
16 grand worth of shit. This man faces robbery charges after an attempted Kijiji cell phone sale. And
Damn.
this 19-year-old man is facing several charges, including robbery, after an attempted cell phone sale through Kijiji. Police say two men met on Saturday before 7 p.m. And according to the report, the men were reportedly sitting in the seller's car when the buyer asked to see the phone. The seller told police he had a bad feeling about the deal, but he handed over the phone to the buyer anyway. That's when the buyer reportedly attempted to flee the vehicle without paying for the phone. Gets better. So police say the seller was able to grab the buyer before the seller was sprayed by quote unquote aerosol irritant believed to be pepper spray. Can't believe he's carrying that. The scammer allegedly escaped the car but left his wallet behind. Police say it was a scammer who called the police. The scammer called the police, claiming he would be the victim of a robbery, and he was sprayed by an irritant and lost his wallet while fleeing. And through the investigation, police determined the true events, and the buyer was located and arrested, and it was going to go to court. 19-year-old robbery, administering a noxious chemical with intent to endanger lives, blah, blah, blah. So you have those two stories. You have the guy who tried to steal a phone, pepper spray involved, lost his wallet, then claimed to be the victim.
Genius.
Versus the three dudes plus a fourth outstanding. They stole 4,000 chocolate bars, protein bars, 5-hour energy drinks, and a shitload of other things. Those are your two stories. Which one is the Hamilton man? Which one is the Brampton man?
You know, the Brampton man is not a good driver. He's not a good driver. And the traffic stop makes me think that the Brampton man was like pinched on a highway. He's got maybe one flip-flop out the window, the other one on the gas pedal. He's doing $130. It's a 90 or something like that. It makes you think maybe that's him. But it's weird that you'd steal chocolate bars. Like, why steal chocolate bars? It's kind of weird. The Brampton man is more in tune with the electronics market, I think, especially the cell phone market. I know this because I've done some Facebook Marketplace sales over the years. In fact, when I sold my iPhone 13, I met up with a guy in town on King Street, so he couldn't get away, and he tried to shortchange me $20. I counted the money in his passenger seat, and he was $20 short, and then he magically found it, of course, in his pocket. So I won't tell you the origin of that guy, but yeah, I won't tell you the origin of that fellow, but you could probably pin it down if you tried. So all that to say that I think probably the Brampton man stole the chocolate bars, even though I'm going against my better judgment because the Brampton man likes a good phone, but I'm gonna go with the chocolate bars.
Yeah, and you are correct. So
nice.
Indeed. And no names were released for those individuals, unfortunately. So I don't have any names for them. But yeah, there you go. Those are the two stories.
Banger. Okay. I love that. I love that. Okay, that's it for tonight. Appreciate all you guys stopping by. If you're enjoying the show on Twitter, like I said, this is 700 a year. So go subscribe to the YouTube channel. You'll dig it, man. Trust me. We have an interview out there with Francis that just came out today. Some other bangers from the recent past, and more to come. No interview this week on Thursday. I was going to do one with Zach, BTC BAP, because he has a new book out, but I haven't read it yet. And also I am a little under the weather, so I don't want to, jeopardize the quality of the interview, but I will talk to him at some point soon. And also I'm going to set something up with the Poet, the Philosopher, and the Teddy Bear podcast. A couple of Canadian guys talking politics and culture from, I think, the West Coast. If you haven't listened to that show yet, you should. It's pretty good. I enjoy it when I am able to catch it. And they also do it live on YouTube via StreamYard. So you can watch it on Twitter or YouTube as well. Anyway, so we're going to do that in the not too distant future. That's it for us. Until next time, take care of yourself.
Take care.